Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
Let's be completely honest. Are you happy with your job? The fact is, a huge number of people can't say yes to that. Too many of us are stuck in a job we've outgrown or one we never really wanted in the first place. But we stick it out and we give reasons like, what if the next move is worse? And I've put years into this place. And maybe the most common one, isn't everyone miserable at work? But there's a difference between reasons for staying and excuses for not leaving. It's time to get unstuck. It's time for Strawberry.me. They match you with a certified career coach who helps you get from where you are to where you want to be, either at your existing job or by helping you find a new one. Your coach helps clarify your goals, creates a plan, and keeps you accountable along the way. Go to strawberry.me/career and get 50% off your first coaching session. That's strawberry.me/career.
Hello, and welcome back to the Psycho Pop Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. I'm the therapist, Tess Brigham.
And I'm Brooke Brigham. I'm the attorney.
And we're continuing our Sister Wives Rewind. Today we're covering Season 8, Episodes 2 and 3, A Family Meltdown, and Courting Another Wife. So these two episodes are two, they're kind of standalone because it covers this family RV trip they're taking during the summer, where their ultimate destination is Billings, Montana, to visit with the Collier family, another polygamous family. That's their destination. But along the way, in the first episode, is really just about kind of them getting to Billings, Montana, and all the places they have to stop along the way.
They stop a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stops. So let's just dive right into it because it's a road trip. We're going to kind of take you in the order, but we're going to kind of, we're still going to go theme by theme, but you kind of have to get the full feeling of what this week of their lives was like. So yeah, we hear from everybody what their trip is, and then this one thing gets dropped in that is never revisited again in these two episodes was Janelle saying that she went to see Nancy, the therapist.
So random,
and that she knows she needs to work on some of her relationships, especially with Mary. And so I kept thinking like, oh, okay, there's going to be something between the two of them. No, never talked about it again.
It was very, very random. But yeah, so it seems like it was not that long ago. Was it not the last episode, but the episode before where they took the RV?
Oh, yes.
To the other polygamous family, the Richards, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I guess this is just the summer of visiting polygamists.
I think they were really they got into the houses, sister wives' closets falling apart. And I think they were like, well, that RV trip thing went well. So let's just rent them some RVs and let them go.
Yeah.
I think this was about content. Like all these places that they visited along the way, I don't think they really needed to visit. They just were stops for content.
So as per usual, they're leaving Vegas 1.5 hours late, maybe more. That was just the last time stamp we heard was 1.5 hours late.
Yes. It's the same old, same old. Mary's, of course, on time. Truly's running around in a fairy princess outfit. Like, Christine is like, just go, move this food, take this. I mean, typical.
The pressure's on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But their first stop, so the first stop was in St. George, Utah, to visit their friend Chris Bloxam, who owns a pawn shop, a family pawn shop there. And they need to talk to him about getting a line of credit.
Yeah. Well, they never use the word pawn shop, but we see a big sign there in the business.
Oh, he didn't call it a pawn shop?
No. Cody said, we're stopping to see my friend Chris. He's a successful business owner. And he's in the business of lending money.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So it's a pawn shop. I mean, there's a huge sign and it's obviously a pawn shop.
But pawn shops, and essentially pawn shops, right? They loan people money.
But you have to have a collateral. Yeah. You bring something in, a ring or a watch or something valuable. And they give you a fraction of what it's worth. And if you don't come back and pay off the loan, they just give a certain amount of time. They keep your item and sell it for a lot more.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how that business works. But they need to talk to him about getting a line of credit for Sister Wives Closet because their funding has not come through. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
Stan and Amy have not come through on the funding. And so do you think at this point they know, right? Because when we covered these episodes, it was always this question of, do the Browns know that these people are never going to give them money?
I think they do now, but the last episode we covered, there was a reference to how they were still waiting on this money. And now so Stan and Amy had promised, what was it?
$250,000.
$250 and $500. That wasn't really clear. Now they're just looking for $50,000 to $100,000.
Yes, they just need one big order
from Chris. Yeah, to get one big order, and then they're going to use the inventory as collateral, which is not a good business move. For
no, that I was really surprised by that because he kept saying like, okay, well, what's your collateral? And they're like, well, okay, the business itself and its inventory, and I'm like, huh? Right, you guys just bought 4 homes. Wouldn't you put the homes up as collateral? I guess there's not a lot of equity in the homes, so they're not really worth anything.
Yeah, I mean that's this guy's not in the business of becoming a lien holder on a home. He's not going to want to foreclose on his friend's home.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Who knows if this is even real? This could have just been. Because look, this guy might have a successful pawn shop, but do you really think he has $50,000 to $100,000 to gamble on the Browns in exchange for getting, if they don't pay him back, a bunch of ugly jewelry?
Well, but he's a very successful businessman, so
then he should know that this is not a good move. But
yeah, I was
willing to do it.
Yeah. Ooh. But before then, Chris wants to show, Chris is a collector of polygamist art or polygamist tchotchkes. Artifacts.
Yeah.
And so he really wants to show the Browns this old school Harper's Bazaar comic of a man bringing a wife home, man brings home 5th wife. And they're all just laughing and thinking it's just the funniest thing they've ever seen. And I just thought it's like, this isn't funny. It's a little too realistic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, comics are supposed to be kind of outlandish. It was like, this is way too on the nose a little bit here.
Well, I think that it's an anti-polygamist. It's anti-polygamist propaganda because the 4 wives that are already at the home, they're all dressed in these, raggedy clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And he brings in this 5th wife and she's all dolled up and in these clothes. So it's like pretty soon she'll be in the raggedy clothes too. I think that, they're trying to point out that, you come in thinking you're special, but you're really not. After a while, you're just like everybody else.
Yeah. And so are they all going to pretend like that's not really the truth?
I don't know what I mean? They were just so tickled by it. And it's like, really shouldn't be tickled by this.
Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And I think Cody takes this attitude of like, well, if you think this is funny, then you're a cool person or whatever. It's like, no, this isn't exactly, I don't know.
They're just
not South Park or whatever. You're not making like a funny, statement about something.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So they've already gone. So I've clocked the mileage on all these places because this is quite a trip. So from Vegas to St. George, it's 120 miles.
Okay.
So then their next destination is Lehi, but in between, because Lehi is another 275 miles from St. George. So they stop for the night in this place called Nephi, which is like, I think just 200 miles or so from there. They camp in the RVs.
Well,
nothing happened.
Well, no, there's big controversy because Cody was going to stay with the wives in order of wife, Mary, Janelle, right? But apparently he loves the RV place so much he wants to stay there that night. And
so who was staying in the hotel? Probably Robin.
I don't know. They didn't tell us, but I mean, I take it that if it was supposed to be Mary was supposed to be the first night, then Mary's probably maybe one of the people staying at the hotel. I have no idea, but
I feel like Robin would be at the hotel. She always seems to like.
Yeah,
I've never seen her like hunkering down in the RV.
I always got the sense that it was Christine and Robin that liked the hotels and motels. Yeah. And Janelle and Mary like the roughing it a little bit more. Yeah. So, but yeah, for whatever reason, that seemed to create some controversy. But that was fine. We all moved on.
Yeah, it gets worse. That wasn't the worst of it.
Yeah.
Trust me.
So then we have to go to, because we've got to fill in some time, right? So we go back, they go back to their house in Lehi. And of course we have to go back in time and watch all of the video, all the clips again, and the crying. And, Cody saying we're leaving for Vegas in 3 days and all of that kind of stuff about them fleeing Utah. And then they're sort of looking around and everyone's kind of talking about it. And then all of a sudden Christine gets really like, she's like, I'm having a hard time. I want to go. I want to go. What do you think that was about?
I don't know. She was very on edge through this whole trip. And and then she had a talking head where she's like saying how, I forget exactly, but basically, she's like, this was a really bad memory for her.
I wonder if, her time being the basement wife in Lehi is all coming back to her, right? I wonder if, just how she felt that last year with Robin.
Right, and bringing Robin in.
Yeah, it all came like crashing down on her. And she's like, I got to get out of here. But my theory is that this sort of sets her off. Like, I think she was in a good headspace when she went on this vacation. And I think seeing this house brought up some feelings to the surface.
Yeah.
A bit.
It's that was where this all began with Robin and
and fleeing and of all the wives, obviously Mary went back to Utah, but like Christine is the one that had the most ties to Utah and the most ties to that world. And so for her to leave Utah was a much, I think it was never really talked about, but the fact that it was a bigger deal for her, that it did impact her a lot more because Janelle likes, kind of where they are now and all of that. So anywho.
Yeah.
So next stop is they've got to go see Alice. It's Alice, right?
No, it's
what's her
Annie.
Annie. God, I kept writing Alice, but it didn't seem right. Annie. So they went to go see Annie, Christine's mom, because Christine's mom is going to be moving in with Christine and Cody in about 6 weeks. And she's got a whole house worth of stuff. And they're kind of like...
He has to assess it.
Yes.
He has to assess how many trucks he's going to need, if he can load it all into one truck. And how long did Annie last there? I feel like she didn't live there for very long.
Yeah, I don't remember a lot of Annie in Vegas. I can't retain a lot of that. And I think those are the episodes that I started to like fast forward through just to get a sense of what's going on. So, I don't know. And it's a little unclear of why she wanted to go there anyway. I hear what she's saying when she's like, well, I have this big house and I don't want to run this house anymore and I'm tired. But to leave Utah and to move to Vegas and live with your daughter, and it seems like a lot. Do you think it's a financial thing?
I don't know. So the next episode after the two that we're talking about today is when Aspen and McKelty move out. They move into their own apartment, and Christina's verklempt because it's like, I'm losing my babysitters. I'm losing my house manager. She says that, Aspen does everything. So maybe Christine was a little freaked out. She wanted help. I don't know whose idea it was. It's hard to tell.
Yeah. So maybe this was her solution to losing Aspen and McKelty.
Yeah,
bring Annie in.
She's giving her mom like a bedroom and the family room. So, I don't know. It's hard to tell whose idea it is, who wants it more, if it's a financial thing, if it's just a childcare thing. I'm not really sure.
But in typical Brown fashion, and I know Annie's not a Brown, but in typical fashion, you're like, you're leaving in 6 weeks and you have all of this fabric that hasn't even been put, like that fabric's the easiest thing that you could have put in a box or given away or done something with them. Like, you haven't even tackled this. I understand Cody's like, oh my God, it's a lot of stuff.
Well, yeah. And she hasn't even decided what she's going to take with her or not. She's like, well, I don't know if I need it. They're trying to figure out what furniture she's going to bring and she doesn't even know.
Yeah.
So
it's not good. It's not good. Yeah. So, but I think, again, this was, if we try to see this as Christine, Lehi house, child, my oldest two are leaving. My mom is coming in. Yeah. Let's just build and build. Yeah,
it's true.
So the next stop is, let's go torture Maddie for a little while.
Poor Maddie. I felt bad for her.
Yeah. So they go visit Maddie now how many miles is this? They've gone from St. George. So St. George to Lehi to, where does Annie live? Salt Lake City. And then Maddie is in Logan, Utah, which I'm trying to read my notes. I think it's 82 miles. Okay.
But it's kind of on the way because they're heading up towards the next, towards Montana. So it is on the way because it's like kind of like northern Utah. So they go there, and I guess the wives just start playing tricks on her, like short sheeting her bed and like rearranging all her stuff and moving it around. And they think that's just so wacky and funny and crazy. And yeah. And Maddie's not amused. She's not amused. And she has these flowers, these like a dozen roses, and everyone's like, oh, who gave you the roses? And Cody's like, yeah, who are those roses from? And she's like, I bought them for myself. That sort of cuts that off. But then at the end of the segment, she's like, yeah, I don't tell my parents anything. I don't have to tell them everything, those are from Caleb. Yeah, probably. But I think she made a really interesting observation because she said, my father wants me to tell him everything and I'm never going to do that. But until I tell him everything, he's never going to feel connected to me unless I tell him everything, and I'm never going to do that. So that's kind of where we are. And I think this goes back to, this big issue with a lot of the family members of back to like quote unquote loyalty. And what do you, I think in Cody's mind, it sounds like he feels like you telling me every little thing, every feeling, every thought, all of that, that's you being loyal to me. And then that loyalty means we're connected. And that's not what that is. That's just no boundaries. Right. And that's just enmeshment. And then he feels like, well, I don't have to do anything more. Yeah. Because he has this little talk with her out in the RV, and he's asking her all these questions about, everything. And she's being kind of not evasive, but just kind of like, yeah, she's not pouring her heart out to him, just what he wants. And he says the last time when he dropped her off, he felt like that was unsatisfying because she was kind of like, okay, I'm ready for you to leave. And yeah, he's really like desperate to, have that kind of connection with her. And she's just not going there.
Yeah. And you know what? You can be close to her. You don't need to know about her sex life, Cody.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to know who's giving her flowers, what's going on, what's not. If she wants to tell you, she'll tell you. But it's just so bizarre. It's such a bizarre thing to assume. Like, you telling me everything means that we're interconnected. And it's like, huh? It's like a very weird Scientology kind of like, you have to know everything about me. And then there's secrets, and those secrets are bad. I don't know. It's just bizarre.
Well, and I know Janelle said this, and I'm not sure if Cody chimed in, but Janelle said, and she had said this when they moved her in, that she could see Maddie as the kind of person who, like, some guy comes along, says all the right things and does all the right things, and then she just goes off and gets married. So Janelle knows her.
Yeah.
And I think Cody, I don't know if he thought that or whatever. He was just so happy that it was Caleb. Didn't matter. Oh, you're going to drop out of college? No problem. I want to marry this guy who I have a total, man crush on.
So maybe that was the insecurity that he felt, was just kind of like, oh, geez, I hope she marries someone that I really love, that I like. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But the next stop after they torture poor Maddie, the next stop is they have to go to, so a bunch of the kids were at the family's ranch in Montana or Wyoming, sorry. And so they're going to meet, they are going to meet somewhere first. But before they do that, they stop at a motel. This was a little weird. They stop at this motel, and Cody's like, hey, Mary, this is where you and I stayed our first night of our honeymoon. Quote unquote. This is the first time we banged.
This is the first place we banged.
This is the first place we banged, and it was this shitty motel right here. And here I am with my 3 other wives talking to them about it. Isn't this fun? Good times. What a vacation.
Yeah, that was awkward.
Yeah, that was so weird. And Mary was just like, oh God. Oh, she felt so awkward. And I can imagine too, right? Him saying that. It's like, where everyone's mind went. Because everyone knows that you were all like virgins. So it's we think, allegedly, we don't know, but this has been the story. So, that's where everyone's going. And that Mary was mortified, really mortified that he brought that up.
Yeah.
And really uncomfortable. It was just like, oh God. Okay.
So they're meeting, I guess Cody's mom is going to drive the kids. That's a long way
to Old Faithful, which is in Yellowstone.
Yeah. So we're going to West Yellowstone, Montana, which from Lovell, Wyoming to this place, it's a 4-hour drive.
Oh, wow.
So, but we never saw Cody's mom. We don't know how they got there.
No, we barely really understand which kids were there. I mean, I know Savannah was there and Gabe.
Savannah, Gabe, and Peyton.
Oh, just those 3.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, got it. So Hunter, I did not see Hunter there. Or Garrison
was not there. Leon.
No, Leon was there.
Really?
Yeah, I saw Leon.
Oh, I missed that. Yeah, obviously Logan and Maddie are at school. So I just thought Leon was at school too, but it is the summer.
Yeah. Well, Maddie and Logan probably are like, we have jobs and things to do.
Yeah,
we
summer
can't
school.
go.
Yeah.
Leon couldn't come up with an excuse fast enough not to go. So Leon's like, oh crap, now I'm obligated to come to this thing. But before we get to Old Faithful, this is where everything starts to go to shit, which is, so Robin has a friend in Wyoming or Montana. It was a little unclear that they were supposed to see. And then that friend could not see them. So I think it was Janelle, but that brings up, well, why don't you look up Ken Grant, who, as we all know, Ken was Cody's best friend from, high school, from childhood and high school, who came on an episode, I think it was like season 3, season 4, something like that, talking about how he very much, he's LDS. And so Cody being a polygamist, he's very much against that. So at some point, Ken wrote Cody a text that said, hey, why don't you divorce 3 of your wives and come back to the Mormon church?
But he also said it, I thought he said it in a way that he was, not to be malicious, but that he was very concerned about Cody's salvation, because he really believes this.
Yes.
And so this is sort of a case of dueling religious ideologies here. He said, if you divorce 3 of your wives and you can still come back to the church and, you still go to heaven or whatever. And so I don't think it was malicious. I know it's hurtful to Christine, but it's not like he was. Well, anyway, you can explain that. Christine goes off the rails.
Yes. So Christine absolutely hates him. She wants an apology. She feels like I don't want you going and visiting with this friend. And I think also maybe getting him on the show and giving him a platform. I mean, maybe to continue to talk about these things. And she feels very strongly about it. Now, I feel for Christine in the sense that not one of those sister wives was standing up for her.
No.
Like not one could see her point of view. They all were like, Ken's an idiot. I mean, they were all kind of like dismissive of it. And I was just like, well, that's not very nice. Like, can't someone side with, can't someone try to help or something? I don't know. I just felt for her. She was really out on a limb by herself.
Yeah, but this is a rare occasion where I could kind of see Cody's point of view, in that he said this is what he believes. This is his religion, and it's not personal to you, Christine.
Yeah.
It's just saying in general that, polygamy is not the way to go to heaven. And Cody believes something differently, and he can still be friends with him and have different ideologies. But Christine could not see that at all.
Yes. And I'm with you on this, which is I'm not 100% on either camp, but I think that it was the way in which Cody thought about it and the way he kept talking about it. It all had to do with his balls and his testicles. We heard a lot about his manhood. And that's where he kept coming back to that bugged me. That really bothered me. But yeah, I mean, the thing is that your partner is going to have friends that you don't particularly like, that may disagree with you, and you may have different opinions on it, but it's not, you need to let your partner have the friends that they have, and you decide how much you're going to interact. Like Christine needed to say, listen, then if that's going to happen, that's fine. I'm just not going to spend any time with him. I'm not going to be there.
Just
that's you.
Go.
Yeah. That's you setting a boundary, saying this is my line in the sand, and fine. That's your choice. And that's really what she needed to say. But this is when all hell broke loose.
Mm-hmm.
And I get the sense that what happened after that was that Christine was in a really foul mood and in a really bad mood. And I think that then what happened was that they kept alluding to this, that she then got everyone else in a foul mood. And then that made the other wives even more angry at her. Like, what are you doing?
Cody was really pissed. And he he was trying to talk to her, but, after a certain time with Cody, it's like, if you don't agree with him then he starts to shut down, and this whole, and then he really kind of threw several little tantrums throughout this whole thing and he's like, I'm done being responsible for my wife's feelings. And then I think he calls her crazy, or starts talking about women being crazy. And then he wants to blame it on PMS. I mean, it got really weird.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as it turned out, after all of this, they called Ken. Ken's not available. So,
all that for nothing.
You think that maybe before you suggest Ken, that you try to find out if he's available. But, again, I think this is one of the producers kind of like, Janelle, mention Ken.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The
way she brought up Ken was so clearly staged.
Yeah.
And then, they know Christine is mad about this. And so They just want to see her get mad. They don't even check with Ken first.
Yes, they just start talking about him. But yeah, Cody's like, well, this is just about your pride. And then he does say something like how Christine's playing games. Christine's playing games with, and he also says he doesn't like this princess behavior, the foot stomping, sort of indicating that this is what Christine is doing. And then he says something like, this poison has gone through the whole family. Thank you, Christine. Like
dramatic.
But yeah, talk about drama. But I think this is right. So I think Christine and Cody's relationship it's playing out for us here. Like this is it. This is their relationship, which is Christine wants someone who's going to stand up for her and defend her and see her point of view or care about her, pay attention to her. And Cody is not doing any of those things and hasn't been doing any of those things probably long before Robin, but for a long time. And Christine's demanding the attention from him or something from him. And he can't get that. He doesn't get that that's really what she's looking for in these moments. But he sees her as just being, you're kind of like harshing my mellow, man. Like, how dare you and your feelings interrupt me in my life and what I'm doing.
And I don't know if it was him or her that mentioned when they started talking about the PMS.
Oh God, the PMS.
This was crazy because he's like, I don't know what sort of hormonal, because he can't pronounce hormone. He says hormonal thing you're going through, and it's as if they both just discovered what PMS was.
Yeah,
like they're discovering this, and this is why Christine is like this every month, and this is why she's having this meltdown now. I don't know. It was so crazy, but one of them mentioned something about 5 years, like this has been the 5-year struggle between them. Well, gee, what happened 5 years ago? That's when Robin came into the family.
Has it been 5 years? Are we at 20? Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, because Solomon is like 2-ish. And
they had to court for like almost a year.
They had to court for almost a year.
And that was just torture.
Then she got pregnant about a year later. Then she's pregnant for almost a year. And he's like almost, it's been 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah. They finally, they're on their next stop at Harriman's National Park in Idaho. They kind of backtrack to go to Idaho. And that's when they sit down and finally have this talk. And at this point, I think Cody is now like, he's gotten to the point now where he's like, well, I'm so sick of her and I'm so sick of this shit. And so he's on the defensive, like from the moment he sits down. And, we hear from Christine's side about how she says she was raised, not to trust people like Ken and what he's saying is bad and it's negative. And I understand. I get her point of view. I do, but I do think that you can't, I don't know. This was really interesting because there was something in Cody where he was like, I can't go to my friend and tell him and ask him for apology. Like that felt like so emasculating to him to have to go and do this act. And I don't know. Do you think it's that emasculating to have to?
Well, I don't really think he should have to. I think Christine needs to get some perspective and take this with a grain of salt. And if she's the only one who is upset by this, and maybe she should just look at that. Like, why are you so upset about this? And you just said, yeah, it's sensitive for her because of her family history. She's very sensitive to that. But this is just not the hill to die on.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's not that big of a deal. And again, I love to find things to criticize Cody about. And I can totally see his side. This is between him and his friend.
Yeah.
And he's trying to explain to Christine that this is what he believes, just like we believe what we believe. And he believes what he believes, religious freedom, whatever. But yeah, Christine, this isn't about Ken Grant. This is
God, no.
Christine is just,
she needs
in a bad marriage.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is? She needs Cody to stand up for her.
Mm-hmm.
She needs Cody to
some
champion
way, shape,
her.
or form. Yeah.
If she wants, and did she say this out loud where she said she wants Cody to be a champion for the family? But it's almost like I want Cody to be a champion for me. I want Cody to take something that I say and believe in it, maybe the way in which he does with Robin or Janelle or anybody else. Like that I need him to, and I think it's also about his lack of interest and care for her, like how invested he really is in her. And I think people pick fights for this. I think people get, worked up about this stuff because we tend to take these moments in time and then they symbolize the entire relationship. Like if he doesn't stand up for me, then that means he doesn't love me. And, but I just felt so bad because Christine, she was like, God, I feel bad. I'm ruining the vacation and, all this stuff. And I just don't feel like anyone's turning around going, no, it's okay, Christine. Like,
they're pissed.
Everyone's like, yeah, you are ruining the vacation, Christine. You suck. It's like, oh, geez.
Yeah, no, someone makes a comment. I think it was Robin makes a comment about how, if Cody has a problem with one of his wives, it seeps into everything else. Thanks, Christine. No, Thank
you, Christine. It's all your fault.
You're ruining everyone's vacation, Christine.
Yeah. So how dare you? Get over it. How dare you feel that way about it? Yeah, this is not a good time for Christine. No. And I do feel for her in the sense that like you get right once you kind of get into that headspace, it's hard to get out. Mm-hmm. It is. It's hard to kind of like slough it off and kind of like move forward and let it go. And so I did feel for her. I'm with Cody on the fact that this is not the hill to die on, but I think that's the problem, right? Like Cody, the way in which he even deals with her, like he has zero awareness or empathy to be able to try to understand what's going on with her underneath all of this. That's number one. And then number two is just how dismissive he is about the whole thing. He could have even said to her, listen, let's talk about this more when we get home, or let's have a different kind of conversation. We're not going to see Ken. Let's let it lie. Cameras. Yeah. He really raked her over the coals but they had multiple conversations about this. Like 3 sit-down confrontations about it. And this is all on camera. And it's just like, geez, okay, stop. Like, you guys need to take this, take this up again somewhere else, to someplace else. Like, that was very uncomfortable. Well, this kind of, I was going to bring this up. This kind of moves into the next episode because they end episode 2 with Mary says, if you get marshmallows wet, you can throw them at people. And so she wets a bunch of marshmallows and they start having this marshmallow fight. And there was one point where I swear to God, she took that marshmallow and she just threw it at Cody. And I was like, I'm sure that felt good. I know that felt good. And I think some other kids were throwing shit at Cody too. Felt good too. But I didn't know that about marshmallows. But then we see all these marshmallows down. Did they pick those up? You're not going to let these marshmallows just roll down this river? In this state park or wherever they're at. Yeah. And they're like trashing the place. Yeah. But one thing too, it was kind of nice on this trip to see Cody kind of, interact with some of his kids. And with Gabe. And he seemed to be, because we never see him really interacting with his kids like in a playful way or so we got to see some of that, I guess. Yeah. But then so episode 3 starts up with this is their last day of traveling. But before we go, let's all the grown-ups sit around a table and let's beat the shit out of Christine some more. Christine, one more time. Okay, we're going to sit here and talk. Then we're going to pray, and then we're going to beat the shit out of her. Yeah, then Cody's going to have a one-on-one, another one-on-one with her, and he wants the other women to leave because he doesn't want to embarrass Christine because he's going to really give it to her good. Yes, he's like, before I embarrass you, let's all pray together. Let's all touch each other and pray together. And then I'm just going to really do. And that's what you do to a child. And you shouldn't do that to a child. But you shouldn't do it to anybody. But this is a lot of what parents do with children and shame them. And, shame her for having her feelings, basically. And I think this is exactly the relationship. It's like Christine has feelings and she's shamed for them. She shouldn't have them. So Christine's so worried that everyone's mad at her. But they're not mad at her. They're just upset about the tension. about the tension of everything.
Which is caused by Christine.
But Mary, did you hear what Mary said? So Mary says that Christine has been rough lately, that there's something going on with her.
Mm.
And
it's not just PMS.
No, but Robin says sometimes it's very unsafe to side with Cody if he is having a disagreement with a wife. I hate that unsafe. When they all just started saying unsafe the minute Robin came in. Unsafe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this was Cody. I'm going to have a talk with Christine. I'm going to be really frank, and I don't want to embarrass her. First, let's pray. And so basically this new yelling at Christine's about the fact that you're not being accountable for your behavior and everybody's on eggshells and I don't know what's going on with these hormonal changes and you're erratic and yeah. So Christine then has to start talking about PMS and how she's discovered that she has PMS. And listen, I don't know a ton about PMS, but I do get very upset when people always use that as an excuse for something, because I don't think that PMS makes you make up feelings. I think it just heightens feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And so it really bugs me when people discount the feelings, because it's like, okay, maybe the delivery isn't quite the best delivery, but it's still the root of it is the truth. The root of it is how I feel.
Yeah, it's harder to cope with.
Yes.
Because you don't feel good. So, yeah. Yeah. And, that's such an old trope. This PM. Remember they used to say, like, that's why a woman couldn't be president.
Oh, God.
She might get her period and decide to start a nuclear war.
Because we start so many nuclear wars. Do you know what I mean? If I'm sorry, but if women were so erratic every time they had PMS or had their period,
all these men would be dead.
You would all be killed. We would have thrown you in with the bears. Like if we truly wanted to do what we wanted to do to men half the time, there would be no men.
We have a lot of self-control.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. We have a hell of a lot more than you all do.
You don't want to find out, like.
And that's the other thing. You have no, there's probably only women listening to this, but like you have no idea all the crapola that we still manage to get done while we're feeling this way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, but there's no difference between Christine and this PMS stuff. And Cody kept referring to my balls in a vice and my balls in my hand and my balls here and my balls there. It's like, okay, got it. Your testicles or whatever you wanted to call them. Like, oh my God, that's the same thing as, something biologically hormonal is making you feel something.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, this PMS thing really pissed me off.
So awful.
I'm Janelle in this. Oh, God damn it.
Psych Legal Pop will be right back after these messages.
Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
So then they argue about I don't feel like you're being very responsible about how you're behaving. I don't feel like you're being very responsible about how you're behaving. And then we find out this has been an issue for 5 years.
Yes, there's for the 5 year. We've been doing this for 5 years. I wonder why.
Yes.
If only we knew why.
Yeah. So and then that's when I wrote down my whole theory about like Christine being neglected, and that I think she makes things that are smaller much bigger to get attention from him, even if it's negative. So,
yeah.
All right. So we put this to bed and it's time to get to the Colliers' house. So you know a bit more about the Colliers, right? Like, because you watched that they were on Seeking Sister Wives, or no?
No.
Oh, they weren't. Oh, okay.
No, they weren't. But spoiler alert, they're not together anymore.
So none of these Colliers.
Or one of them left.
Was it the second one?
It was the second one.
Yeah,
Christine,
the one that,
the second wife.
That's interesting.
She left in 2022.
Interesting.
Not that long ago.
Did you think? I, for the longest time, thought they were sisters.
Yeah, they look a lot alike.
Yeah, they look a lot. He has a type. And is Nathan a very popular LDS name? Because I feel like I've met more Nathans through Sister Wives than I've ever known any Nathans.
Yeah, must be. Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's LDS. He was raised LDS. But I think all these people were originally LDS except for like Christine's family. They invented this AUB.
I think Nathan kind of wanted an open relationship, really. Mm-hmm. I mean, I feel like it's not religious. It feels a little bit like, I want to be married to both,
Yeah, he fell in love with two people at the same time, and he didn't want to break up with either one of them. And then the one who ended up leaving a couple of years ago, Christine, remember, she said she left.
Yeah.
She went away for she got married.
Mm-hmm. Had kids.
Had a couple kids and then came back to him. And there seemed to be some tension there. And then they're talking about, maybe bringing in a third wife. And there seemed to be some tension there about the house. There were these parallels between, they also have a plot of land.
Yes.
That they bought, and they want to build their house there. Mm-hmm. The house is going to be like separate houses with 2 kitchens.
Yes. Oh God, this kitchen.
Maybe 3, like sort of like duplex type things, and then a common basement area or something. So they're all living in one house. They have their own bedroom, but they've got 5 kids at home, and that was a good size house, but for 2 complete families to be sharing that one house.
So even if it's 4 bedrooms, it's still a little tight.
Yeah, because if
5 bedrooms,
then you got to put all the boys in one room and all the girls in. Mm-hmm. It's 5 kids, so there's 2 or 3 kids in each bedroom.
So, but oh my God, when they drove up and I saw those cars, I guess it made sense because he's I guess he works in construction, or what was his?
I don't know. I'm not quite sure.
But those cars were like, oh my God, like just
one is like a military.
Yeah, I was like, why does he need this giant military vehicle?
Oh,
it seemed insane to me.
Same reason why he needs like 1,000 guns.
Ugh, that whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
So we learn about the Colliers that he met both of them in 1999, and he was courting them together. And I guess the first wife, Vicky, had 2 children from a previous marriage. And then he said they got married in 2000, and then he and Christine had a commitment ceremony. He doesn't say the year, but it sounds like it's closely after that.
Well, no, because I think she left after that and came back. So wouldn't they have had the commitment ceremony when she came back?
No, I get the sense that what happened was that they had the commitment ceremony. A couple years went by, like a couple years or a year. And she was like, oh, I don't like this. Like, this isn't working for me. I got to go. And then she leaves, and then she comes back around. Wow. Like, I feel like they were together, then apart for many years, and then together again. Kind of like Bennifer. There's so many parallels.
Except longer stretches of time being married.
Yeah. I mean, this whole thing about how, like, they were in the LDS church, and then they have to go to church court. And a judge decides whether or not you're committing a sin. And then, so they kick him out. I didn't know that you could decide. I thought only God could decide.
No, they have these church elders who are just like a panel of elders. And if they get wind that you're doing something against the religion, you have to go to church court and defend yourself, I guess. And then if they don't like what you say, they excommunicate you.
And does that really seem fair? That doesn't seem. No, well, doesn't that go against the spirit of what religion is? Am I not?
This is the only religion that does this, as far as I know. Maybe there's something in the Catholic, because people have been excommunicated from the Catholic Church, right?
Oh yeah, I guess so.
I don't know if they still do that, but
I don't know. But so then Nathan makes a very good point, which I agree with him on. He said these laws are enabling evil to thrive by punishing the men and keeping the wives worried and scared that if they report what's really going on, that their children will be taken away and their livelihood. You know what I mean? And he's not wrong. He isn't. I mean, the fact that you're keeping like this whole religion, you seem to have this very interesting view of secrets, right? Like, you know, we shouldn't have secrets, but have secrets. Don't tell us everything. Tell us everything, right? Like, but I agree with him that this is what's going on. But the whole time I'm sitting there watching, they're going, do these two women ever get to talk? Do you know what I mean? Like the whole, like each one is like holding his arm and like, it felt very uncomfortable to me. It just didn't feel right. It just kind of felt like they were just there. And all we had to hear about is from Nathan all the time. I don't know, just my 2 cents.
They talked a little bit about, the struggles that they've had, but they decided to, be together, come together, whatever.
Yeah. So this third wife that they're courting. So did the third wife ever come in or no?
I don't know. Not that I'm aware of.
Is a friend of Vicky's. And my God, why can't we film the time that they bring Vicky over to the house? And that this friend of Vicky, they bring her over and tell her that this is what they want. Why can't we see that? That's what I want to see.
I know. Yeah, we don't want to see, you going ATV riding.
Yeah, I want to see you talking to Vicky's friends, suggesting that she become the third wife, and I want to see her face.
Right. I want to meet her.
Yeah, that's the good stuff. But anyway, they go and they hang out on the property, and there's a whole section about a big truck and then wasps stinging.
Oh, this is hilarious because Cody gets stung by a wasp, and you would think that, a shark bit him or something. Truly gets stung by a wasp, and she's like, I'm fine. And you know what I mean? Like, and Cody didn't even care that Truly was stung. He's worried about himself, and
and Solomon.
Did he get stung too?
No, Solomon, but I'm just saying he was going to put Solomon in the truck and Truly wanted to go into the truck. So Solomon was already in the truck, and he, of course, was like grabbing Solomon. So Solomon doesn't get stung, and there's Truly.
Yeah, Truly had to fend for herself.
Yeah.
And then Cody's like, get this, do you see a stinger? Do you have nails? Can you get it out? Like, he is so concerned about his alleged sting. I don't even know if and Truly was just like, yeah, I got stung. I'm fine.
Yeah.
God, what a baby he is.
So, but isn't that odd? Like, the cab of your truck, there's like a wasp's nest. Like,
you must not go in there or use it very much. Yeah, it was a ton. Yeah, a big old wasp nest. You don't even know it. I guess you don't go in there much.
So, and so then, of course, everyone's ATV riding. So we go back, and I love Dayton. I really love that kid. And just watching him process this whole thing, it was really nice. I just really wanted Robin to shut up. Because Robin, of course, has to tell us about how he was out of town with friends when he got into this ATV accident. And, but this was really just about him facing his fears. And I think I'm glad they showed this because I think it was very inspirational. He does not need to keep getting on an ATV, but there is something about the fact that he kind of felt like I can't live my life in fear. And if I can either choose never to get on ITV again, but if I want, I get the sense that he wanted to get on it again, and he wanted to do that. And he went very slow, and he had a helmet. Thank God they all had helmets this time.
Well, I couldn't tell it was hard to tell for me how he felt about it, because I felt like Robin seemed not pressuring him, but I don't know if it was me, like at the first sign of any resistance to it, I'd be like, it's okay, you don't have to do it. The whole thing about like, you have to face your fears, and I want you to face it. That felt a little pressury to me. I don't know. This whole ATV thing is so all the cover up and this and that. And when Dayton was talking about the experience on the couch with Peyton and Peyton, and was it Gabe?
It was Gabe.
he would, just recounting it, he was terrified.
Yeah.
He was really very nervous and terrified. And, it seemed to be like his decision to do it. And it was so cute that like, Peyton says, that's really great. You did a good job. You faced your fears, whatever. And he's like, thanks, Peyton. He's like, you're welcome.
It was very sweet. It was a sweet moment.
Cute, little exchange there.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that you should force a kid to go ATVing if they don't want to, because it's not a necessary thing.
Mm-hmm.
But as someone who has a child with a lot of anxiety, we've had to like push him many times to go do things that he really didn't want to do, that felt very scary to him. That felt very scary to him in different ways. And maybe it's not that level of danger, but that's the thing about anxiety is that, you have social anxiety, and the first thing you need to do is go out and socialize. Because like the more you build this up, and I do think there was something to be said for the fact that like, he, if this is something he wanted, he could have chosen not to do it ever again. But if this is something he wanted to choose to do, that he did, that he can't, that he does have to face it if this is what he wants.
Yeah. Yeah. I just hope it was what he wanted and he wasn't
being pressured.
He didn't feel pressured.
He was visibly just triggered by the ATVs. Do you know what I mean? Just like his physical body, the way he was, him, retreating, all of that kind of stuff. So, and of course, Cody's so concerned. Like, God, can you be concerned for your other children too?
I know. The way he treats Robin's kids is he's so gentle and patient and attentive with them. And it's like, why can't you be that way to all your kids?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then with the other kids, I feel like he's just kind of combative.
Yeah.
Or
they're not loyal enough. Or tell me more. Who are these flowers from? What's happening here? Right? It becomes a lot. So then we go to Nathan's gun collection.
That was
really frightening.
Scary. I counted 4 gun safes.
I also was looking at where's the security and all of this, because these gun safes didn't seem very safe. Like I would like to see him, putting in a combination or some locks. Like that room needed to be locked, like bolted or something.
If they truly are gun safes, there is some locking mechanism. I mean, we just didn't see it up close. But the one gun safe that he did open, there were probably like 10 to 15 long guns. Mm-hmm. And then he had, I don't know, dozens
of these handguns,
like probably at least they were on these like racks, and it was at least a dozen on a rack, and there were several racks, and that was a one safe.
Yeah.
That was kind of terrifying to me.
The other thing too is it's very terrifying. And also guns are expensive. Mm-hmm. Right? Like you have a lot of children and you're building on this land.
Right.
Like,
you're never going to afford all this to build that house.
Yeah. But and I guess that's the whole thing is that I'm fine. People have the right. If you want to bear arms, that's fine. But why do you need so many?
Right.
Why do you need
it's like
so many?
Stockpiling in case you have to like go to war, like you have to fend off. That's I think the mentality of a lot of this, like having to fend off, the federal government when they try to come for you or something. And it's like, okay.
I don't know. Someone could argue that, what's the difference between that and like someone who buys a bunch of shoes? Like it's a collection. Don't I have the right to collect something that I want to collect? I don't get it.
Yeah.
I really don't.
I mean, you're right. But I mean, only like, I don't even think like the richest, I don't even think Paris Hilton has that many shoes and handbags as he has guns. You know what I'm saying? It's like such an excessive amount.
Yeah.
And what do? You just take them out and kind of look at them and hold them and
shoot them at various things at various times. Yeah. Well, Cody was salivating. I mean, he was just having such a great time with Nathan.
He was handling that gun like he was giving a hand job or something. He was like really feeling it.
Oh, he's so giddy.
Yeah.
Cody gets so giddy when he gets to hang out with some kind of other manly man.
Like a masculine man.
Yeah. He really loves that. And so they start talking about this other woman, this Vicky's friend. And Cody's like, well, do you love her? And he's like, well, I'm not in love with her yet. I'm getting there. You know, you can't just love, you know.
But you're talking about marrying her. So, okay.
Yeah, I just wonder how all of this is the stuff I want to see. Like, is Nathan laying in bed one night with Vicky going, you know, your friend Janice, she's really great, isn't she? You know, I mean, you know, Janice is so fun. You know, you ever wonder if wouldn't it be nice to have Janice around all the time? You know, I just, that's what I want to see. Yeah, I don't know how we get here.
How does he sell these things to these women?
Yeah. But then this gets into something kind of interesting that Nathan talks about his role as being the husband. That he talks about how, you know, if one wife is jealous, he asks himself, what can I do differently? Right? Like if he notices that one of the wives or both of his wives are having an issue, what Nathan does is he reflects, this is what he claims. I don't know if he does it, but he claims that I reflect upon my own behavior. I look at myself and I make a change and I do, you know, I respond differently or I try to be more mindful of that. Cody gets into this whole thing. And I think this is why this is the crux of one of these big issues is that Cody says that he needs his wives to be responsible for their emotional state. You know, he's not responsible for their emotional state. He can't deal with that. And I will tell you, as someone who works with couples, this is what being in a successful marriage and a not very successful marriage, and this is a big one, is how you decide to, you're dealing with this other person. So it's all about how do you choose to look at the various situations? Do you look at it of what can I do different, like, focus on myself and what I can do differently and trust that me behaving differently is going to make everything better? Or am I going to constantly look at the other person and say, well, what are you doing for me now? Mm-hmm. What are you doing? Because no matter what, there's always going to be this lopsided thing. There's going to be one part of the relationship that one partner does much better than the other. And there's always going to be this one. And so you can't focus so much on the other person. You have to focus on yourself and like, how are you going to respond differently?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm surprised this second marriage didn't work for Nathan, because I felt like he had the right attitude.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a better attitude than Cody's. Cody's attitude, is about like, why are you bothering me with this? Like, you need to be responsible for your feelings, even though your feelings are all about me and, you know, my behavior too. I can't do anything. I can't help you. You got to figure it out on your own.
And I think that comes down to this idea of plural marriage and what does it mean? And I think that that's always been the problem. And I think something that Christine's been trying to point out to him forever, which is being this man in a plural marriage means that you do that work. Mm-hmm. At its highest form, that's what this is supposed to be, is you do this work. And I think Cody's always come at it from this place of, and this is so hard. Oh God, I got to deal with so many people's feelings. Oh God, just make it easier for me. And I think that's why he likes Janelle. I really do.
Yeah.
I think
that's very demanding.
Yeah. And she doesn't demand a lot from him. And I think that's why he keeps, even we're seeing in season 19, he's still circling that drain with Janelle.
Yeah. And Robin does the same thing in a different way. You know, she makes his life easy. She doesn't ask him to really do anything hard. She reinforces, you know, the loyalty with her and her kids and all that. So yeah, but Christine has never, they're like oil and water. Like,
they have very different expectations.
And Mary too, I think.
Mm-hmm. So at this point, because Mary seems very checked out, like Mary's kind of just driving. She's in those confessionals. She's really hit the tanning salon hard.
Yeah.
But this is why I'm like, is she talking to Samuel Cooper at this point?
Possibly, because, the next episode, or maybe the episode after, I think it's the episode after, she is when she makes the announcement about the divorce.
Mm-hmm.
So that's coming.
Mm-hmm.
And then the season ends after that. And then the next season, I believe, we get into that. So yeah, she could have already started talking to people online.
Mm-hmm. So that's why I wonder if she's so that's why she would be so checked out with all of this. She seemed a little bit like, I'm just here to drive and I just can't wait to get back to my love.
Get back home to my computer.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's something I noticed. This bugged me throughout the whole thing. Is that, okay, here they are. I know why they do this for filming. But it just seems so awkward to me. But, they're riding in these RVs for days, they're camping, and they're all wearing their regular clothes that they always wear. You know what I mean? Like Robin's wearing her, same old shirts and jackets. And I think they're all wearing jeans, but, they're not in sweats, and which was what if I had to be in an RV for those hours, I have my sweats on, t-shirt. But they're in these clothes that, the same clothes they always put on, for the confessionals and for taping and whatever. So I don't know. I just noticed that.
I think this was before, right? But I feel like it was such a different time too. Back when jeans were, jeans were something you wore casually, or you wore jeans and, to be comfortable. Now it's like, if something's not completely elastic, it's like, oh, this is tight and this is too much for me. Right.
Oh, I don't remember the last time I wore jeans. I mean, I'm kind of over jeans. I realized that one day. It's like, we're all wearing jeans because that's just what everyone did. But it's like, jeans are not comfortable.
Well, it depends. There are some comfortable jeans if you get enough stretch.
Or you get those real wide ones that are like now that, that the kids are wearing them. But then they're wearing those big, huge jeans that look like, they're 10 sizes too big, and, that's what's in style. But yeah, like tight jeans, skinny jeans, none of that stuff's in style. It's all the big, loose stuff. But even then, just the jean material, I don't know.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like jean material now, like nobody's really wearing those stiff jeans anymore. I think that what they're wearing is what I wear, which is like, it's jeans, but it's real light and it's Spanx real stretchy. Yeah, Spanx jeans. I have some of those Spanx jeans, like, real stretchy and nothing that's too binding.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like since the pandemic, our standards are so people are just like, oh, fuck it. Let's just, I'm just going to wear sweatpants or yoga pants every day.
Yeah. Well, now they're making, athleisure wear.
Yeah.
That's nice. It's stylish and it's nice, but it's soft and comfortable and elastic waist.
Yeah.
All of that. So yeah, I just feel like, why did we suffer for so many years in those goddamn jeans?
Well, and men wearing suits.
Yeah.
Suits and ties. You used to wear a suit every day when you had to go to court every day.
Every day. Yeah. Even if I didn't have to go, well, I was always in court all the time. But even if I didn't, I feel like I would just wear a suit because that's just how you were supposed to dress in an office.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No, it's super. And it's shocking to me because once a month I go to a law firm that's in this, huge, beautiful building. They have many floors, 360 views of all of the San Francisco Bay. And 10 years ago, this would have looked so different because everybody is so casual. Like the lawyers are casual. Everybody is beyond cash. And, it's really surprising. The only people that really dress up are the people that are like coming in for a deposition or something. I mean,
yeah. So anyway. And now with all these hearings on Zoom, basically you just have to put on like a nice blouse.
Yeah.
And, because they're only seeing you, from the chest up, and you just put on a nice blouse. You don't even really need a jacket. And
no. Yeah, I wear yoga pants all day long, and I just change my shirt.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I do it. So yeah, the rest of the episode, we see them. The adults go out to dinner. They go to the steakhouse. We hear a bit more about the Colliers, and we learn about Christine leaving and coming back, and all of that. And then there's this whole thing where Cody starts talking about how crazy women are,
Mm-hmm.
and really what it is it like, oh. They're crazy because you don't understand them because they're different than you, and that's uncomfortable to you. So instead of just saying like women are so different, or women, the women that I've met just see things differently, it's like, no, they're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be crazy or they're crazy. And then this gets into the PMS discussion. And
Again.
Nathan talks about how his 2 wives' cycles are lined up, and it's called Hell Week. And then Janelle just leaves.
Janelle is like, oh God, no. Yeah. I was so proud of her.
Yeah. She's like, women shouldn't be reduced to their biology, which is true.
She got up and left.
Yeah. But it's the sort of the same argument of being like, yeah, and all men are cheaters, and all men can't keep it in their pants, or all men are like this. It's like, no, that's not okay either to say, because that's not the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, and then everyone meets for lunch the next day, and then they go river rafting. Aspen falls out.
Poor Aspen.
She gets back in, and they just all decide that the time together is just too short. Too short.
Well, now I wonder, did they actually drive back? They had to drive back.
Yeah,
because they had all that. Hopefully they went straight home, but they had all of those. They had a lot of stuff. There's no way they could have flown back.
Oh, no. I just think that this is sort of how they've structured these vacations for them, right? I think it's like, well, we'll just show you going there, and then you haul ass back.
Yeah.
Just get the vans back by a certain time, and, figure it out from there. So I don't know. I mean, or nothing interesting happens on the return trip or something like that. I don't know. One thing that we have not talked about is that Cody and Robin have listed their home in Flagstaff.
Oh, yeah. I was going to bring that up.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Yes.
Yeah.
So we got to dig into that one.
This was
I'm going to pull up the house.
A big surprise. Their Flagstaff home is on the market. I think it's listed for $1.65 million.
Yeah, hold on. 1.65 million. Yes.
And they have really decluttered. We have all the pictures, unless these are like AI pictures, or it's hard for me to believe that they were, because we've seen the inside of their house a few times, not a lot, but it's extremely cluttered and full of shit. Remember that one Thanksgiving that sad COVID Thanksgiving where Mary came over and their kitchen was just like, there was just stuff on every surface, stacked up in every corner. So they've either completely decluttered and taken most of the crap out of their house, or that's AI. Not quite sure which one, but they have these pictures of, staged. It's their furniture.
Yes, it is.
We've seen these art pieces before they have the ugliest art collection.
Oh, okay.
What's the name of that artist? It's one artist, and it's very expensive. These are $10,000 paintings.
Yeah. The people have talked about this before. I'd have to look it up, but yeah, a lot of the pictures, I'm just looking through photos now, but like a lot of the pictures there's all these pictures of their bedroom. And everything is purple. Listen, I am not an interior designer. It is not my zone of genius, but I do know that something like purple is an accent color. You don't highlight it. You keep more neutral colors, and then you have these stronger accent colors like green or orange or purple. It's just like everything is purple. It's so tacky. I can't, it's like a child. It's like a little girl.
It is. It's like this big, huge purple rug in the bedroom. Yeah, like purple bedspread. Yeah, it's ugly.
And and this kitchen is huge. There's like this whole open concept part, and then there's this whole prep area. I was like, Jesus Christ. And then they have a walk-in pantry that looks huge. And then they have this separate, oh my God. But yeah, I'm just, there's a lot of like faith and family. I see a picture of Jesus over here, and this huge like built-in cabinet with the TV. Gosh.
Yeah, well, that's all Janelle's money, Janelle's house money.
Yeah. So I'm looking at their bedroom, and their bedroom is like, they have a deck off their bedroom, and it's this huge rug. And then there's this painting above their head it's a very famous painting. It's, I don't know who did it. It's of lavender. It's French. And that lavender picture. I don't know.
Like Monet?
Maybe. I'd have to look it up, but very famous.
Impressionist.
Yeah. And then they have this huge, like, his and her bathroom and a huge walk-in closet. Oh my gosh. Huh. And then one of the kids' bedrooms has a natural light and its own private bathroom.
Oh, wonder whose room that is.
It looks like a little girl's room. So maybe Ariella or Aurora. And then there's this huge garage, and then this backyard. Yeah, the place. Oh, and look at this deck. I think they have like a wraparound deck. Yeah, which is really considered prime.
Yeah. So, where did they put all their stuff?
Yes.
Just fascinated by how they cleared this. Where did they put all their stuff? Where are they living?
That's another good question.
If they're going to be showing this house and they have to keep it in this condition, pretty hard to live in it. Where are they going to go when they sell it? How much are they going to get for it? Because I know they've taken out several, home equity lines of credit, and the purchase price was almost $1 million to begin with. Yeah, where are they going to go?
Yeah, well, also, I'm wondering about the price, because that house is very dated looking, right? It's none of the stuff is up to date. I mean, it's we all know, right? When you look at a house, that what people want, and you always know if a kitchen's been updated or not, because if it's all wood, it hasn't been updated, so theirs is completely all wood. And so the house needs a lot for someone to want to spend that kind of money, they're going to want a lot more for that. And I'm wondering if they're going to have to I don't think they have the money to put into the house, but I think that if they put in a couple $100,000 into the house, I think they could get 1.6, maybe even 1.8 for it. But I think the problem is that it's a big house, but there's, if you have that kind of money to spend, you're going to want a home that you either can, still have money left over to redo it, or you're going to get a more modern home. Does that make sense? Like, I just don't, for the price point, I think that's where they're going to have trouble.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of money. And I don't know what the economy is like in Flagstaff.
So Flagstaff is expensive, right? It's expensive.
I think so.
For Arizona.
They were having a hard time, like finding rentals, and I don't know. Although Christine's house, I think she paid about like between $700 and $800 or something for that house, or maybe that's what she sold it for. I don't remember. But they're uncertain economic times. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows how long it'll take to sell? They might have to lower the price.
Yeah. So some people are like, oh, will Coyote Pass go on sale? Are they finally going to move? Are they finally building on Coyote Pass? Do you think that they just simply run out of money? Is that why they're selling the place?
I think so. I think they have to downsize, because the only income they have now is from the show, whatever they get from the show.
And their cameos, Cody's cameos.
Oh yeah. Even if he did that all day, every day, it's not
enough. So my question, do they do any sponsorship? Because they're not social media people, from my understanding. I've never really seen either of them on social media. So that's it, right? It's got to be the show, Cameo, and their gun sales, right?
And I don't even know if he's still doing that. If anyone has any info on this, let us know, because he's not a licensed gun dealer. He was selling with that guy, his friend, Brian, who I think is a licensed gun dealer. And what Cody was doing, I think, was maybe not totally legal. I don't know. I don't know what's up with that.
Mm-hmm. But, well, one person talked about how Cody left a squatty potty by the toilet in the photograph. So he's a squatty potty fan.
Or maybe Robin is.
Yeah, or both, or, all of them. Family. The whole family just loves a squatty potty. So hold on, I got to look at these bathroom photos now. Where is people seeing this squatty potty? Oh, I see it. Yeah. Oh, Lordy. I'm on now on Reddit, like looking at all the little comments that people are making. So,
people are having a field day with this, but yeah, just the art collection alone, could probably put a down payment on a house for Janelle.
Yeah. Well, it's like one person wrote, wow, turns out buying a house you need 5 adult incomes for you to afford might not work out. Yeah. So we shall see, but it's definitely an interesting development. I think it's, I think it's going to get spun on the show as downsizing, but I think it's because they don't have as much money coming in.
Well, also all their kids still live at home, so I don't know how they can downsize unless the kids are going to move too, the older kids.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, maybe the kids are leaving. I mean, best thing for them, don't you think?
Well, Dayton did graduate from college.
Mm-hmm.
That was a while ago, so
I'm sure he'd like to go off and do something. I mean,
get his own apartment,
But it also might be, I mean, the other thing is we don't really know why the kids are still living there. I mean, it is possible that, right, I talk about this all the time with young people and how expensive it is to launch. It could be that truly, that Dayton just doesn't have a job that makes enough money for him to afford an apartment on his own or whatever. So I don't know. Anywho, it'll be interesting. Yeah. Yep. House is on sale. So if only I had 1.65 million to spare, we could buy the place.
I don't know. That's bad energy in there.
You think it's bad juju? Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to live in there.
I would be like, can I just meet the owners? Can I meet? I'd like to meet them first. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. If you like our podcast, if you could, there's lots of ways to support us. One way is to give us a 5-star rating and review. Or you can subscribe to the podcast. That's always really helpful. We have go over to Psych Legal Pop on Instagram. We have an Instagram page. And finally, if you enjoy us and want to hear more from us, you can check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Psych Legal Pop podcast. We do a bonus weekly episode, and we also have a true crime and an Ask Us Anything. We have 2 different tiers. So go check us out there. And I think that's it.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.